Tonight, the Malinauskas era. Labor in a landslide election, victory for the ages, new faces taking their place in Parliament.
Orange snatches silver. One Nation in a second place thriller, winning its first lower house seats. Pauline's people on the march, the nation on notice.
Blue bloodbath. SA Liberals hit rock bottom, laying blame and triggering a seismic shift.
Also tonight, 2 dogs on 3 wheels. An alleged sex offender's spree at Salisbury Downs.
And pleasure and pain for the Power. The first win under Josh Carr, but the skipper is sidelined.
This is Adelaide's 9 News with Alice Monfries and Will McDonald.
Good evening. It was never a contest of who would win, but rather by how much. And South Australia has delivered Labor's Peter Malinauskas the biggest election victory in the state's history.
But for the first time, there's a flash of orange in the Red Sea of Parliament. Pauline Hanson's One Nation party achieving its best result anywhere in Australia for decades, and the country is on notice.
A morning of formalities after a night of festivities.
It is early, but it is done. At this time, 9 projects. The election is won by Labor. The Mally machine rolls on. Now we find an opposition.
Peter Malinauskas leading Labor to a historic win, turning more seats red than ever before.
It's very important that no one confuses tonight's result as adulation. Instead, we should see it as only being an invitation to continue to work our guts out for the next 4 years.
4 years, probably 8, with potentially a new sparring partner.
But I will say to Peter Malinauskas, I'm still in South Australia now. I am leaving tomorrow to go to Canberra to continue my duties. But guess what, mate? I'm leaving you some landmines. They're called One Nation Members of Parliament.
While most of the state went to the polls supporting Labor, more than 1 in 5 South Australians backed One Nation at the ballot, Pauline's party overtaking the Liberals as the second most popular in the state.
It's the day after an election campaign which I think has changed South Australian politics forever.
One Nation on track for at least 2 seats in the lower house and at least another 2 in the upper house. David Payton, the Adelaide Plains Council Deputy Mayor, winning the seat of Nadgery, the party's first lower house seat won at an election outside of Queensland. The Orange Army's success in SA now looking to take on the rest of the nation.
The world's changed and people got to realise it. It started in South Australia, next stop Farah, then Victorian elections, and we'll just keep growing and growing and growing.
New soldiers to fight against the One Nation Army standing by the Premier in Unley today. These candidates praised with turning Metropolitan Liberal seats red.
Channel 9 has called Colton for Labor.
That seat of Colton won by Aria Bulkus, who lost her father, long-serving SA Senator Nick Bulkus, during her campaign.
Wasn't easy. I'm not going to say it was easy, but just made me work harder, to be honest.
That hard work's only just begun. Gus McDonald, 9 News.
Despite the election being decided, ballots are still being counted in many seats which are too close to call.
State politics reporter Gus McDonald joins us now and is across all the numbers. Gus, what is the state of play tonight?
Well, Will, the House has 47 seats, and this is what it looked like before yesterday. Labor with 29 members, the Liberals with 13 and 5 independents. After the results last night, the Labor Party will increase its majority to at least 32 and could gain as many as 35 seats. The Liberals, they have only 4, with slim hope they could add another 3. And One Nation will join the lower house and could have as many as 5. This is messy. The votes are still being counted, and for some electorates, we won't know the result for days. Some seats are so close, we will have to see where those preferences fall. The certainty, however, is Labor has been emphatically returned for another term.
It certainly has. Thank you, Gus. And there were winners, so there had to be a loser. And the Liberal Party lost spectacularly. As the results became clear, the Liberals were baying for blood, not blaming current leader Ashton Hearn, but demanding an apology from disgraced former leader David Spears.
A warm cup of coffee the morning after a cold result.
It's safe to say that the results last night were really tough for our party.
Last night's loss, the Liberals' worst election defeat in South Australia's history.
There'll be a lot of lessons that we need to learn as a team so that we can make sure that we can drive forward into the future towards 2030.
As counting goes on, so too does a stunning trend. A sea of red taking over once blue seats. The Liberal Party now projected to finish up with only a handful. Former leader Vincent Tarzia losing his seat of Hartley to Labor MP Jen Roberts.
2, 1 and blast off! Thank you for your service, Vincent.
Member for Hyson, Josh Teague, is only clinging to hope. The mountain Hearn once said she was gearing up to climb, proving to be mission impossible.
And sometimes the crop that you're growing doesn't produce the goods, but that doesn't mean you walk off the land.
This isn't everyone sick of the status quo, this is everyone sick of you. There is some serious soul searching that has to go on in the Liberal Party, but there is a shift that has happened, particularly in the cities, that doesn't get addressed at all in that speech.
Ashton Hearn left to do too much, too late, with one of the fingers of blame pointed at David Spears.
But David, there must be time for self-reflection that the Liberal Party is suffering because of the rot that set in during your leadership and in the fallout of your leadership.
It was pretty damn hard for Ashton to pick up the pieces at the 11th hour and get her message through. And David, I'd like you at some point to apologise to your colleagues for the chaos and drama that you have caused to South Australia.
Look, I have apologised along the journey and I will continue to get alongside those colleagues or former colleagues who have supported me along the way.
But not from Parliament, his tilt as an independent in black backfiring. So after a history-making collapse and barely 100 days to prepare, Ashton Hearn is backed by the Liberal Party to continue as leader. But political commentators say the pathway to recovery will be long and winning the primary vote could take a decade.
So we'll do some reflecting over the next little while, but we're not going to spend too much time dwelling because there's a lot of work to be done.
April Cretan, 9 News.
Pauline Hanson is warning her historic success last night is just the start, hoping her orange wave will roll across the border. Capitalising on anger for the establishment, One Nation is now looking to New South Wales and Victoria to alter the very fabric of Australian politics.
The shake-up from the south.
I think the rest of Australia is going to be watching what's happening here tonight. It's the start of a new beginning for the people of South Australia and the people of Australia.
One Nation decimating the Liberal Party as Labor romped to a record victory and the Premier promised a new form of progressive patriotism.
We can and we should wave our flag with pride, knowing that Aussie patriotism sometimes means sitting with a stranger and having a cuppa or a frothy.
I think the lesson for that, not just in South Australia, but federally, is that people are angry.
From her home in Western Sydney, Megan Williams is one of those struggling.
I actually have used blankets against the windows, and I use a product that is used in camper vans that buffers the heat.
And she's far from alone. In a report to be released tomorrow, the Council of Social Services finds 3/4 of respondents struggle to cool their homes in summer. 75% say they cut back on lights, and half cut back on cooking to compensate. Those renting or in public housing feeling it much more than owners.
They don't have any control over the rental property they live in. They're unable often to afford the upgrades themselves, and even when they can afford it, the landlord either doesn't respond to them or doesn't allow them to do it.
It really comes down to, in peak periods, changing your lifestyle. So I'll do my study later at night when it's cooler.
Welfare groups calling for an increase in tax on gas exports to help fund living upgrades for those forgotten by the system.
I mean, we take not one thing for granted. It's about delivery for the outer suburbs.
And those in outer suburbs delivering their own message last night. Charles Croucher, 9 News.
The Conservative cannibalisation is almost complete. Tonight, One Nation lead the Liberal Party in 2/3 of the seats here in South Australia. And outside of Adelaide, they lead all parties in total vote. That should scare the hell out of the coalition. Howard's battlers and Scott Morrison's Quiet Australians are becoming Pauline's people. The next test is the Farrer by-election. It actually borders South Australia in parts and shares plenty of demographics. Then Victoria is shaping as seismic, if momentum continues. As that plays out, the Labor government here proved that competence is still king. They've been rewarded with 4 more years, and the rest of our leaders get a lesson.
Charles Croucher there. To other news, and a woman is tonight clinging to life in hospital after she was struck by her own car at Torrens Park. The 60-year-old's Toyota rolling backwards down a steep street, pinning her underneath. Her elderly mother in the passenger seat during the harrowing ordeal.
A quiet cul-de-sac suddenly flooded with flashing lights.
The fire service and the ambulance and the police. I've never heard so many sirens going.
Paramedics scrambling to save a woman's life after she became trapped under her own car. The Camry rolling backwards down Eli Street and onto the 60-year-old as she was trying to get out of the driver's seat.
Looks like an unlucky situation in a dead-end street.
Witnesses telling 9 News the victim had just dropped off a delivery when she was struck around 10:30 a.m. Her elderly mother in the passenger seat during the ordeal.
I feel very sad for them and I hope that they pull through.
Families, children watching on as the Pasadena woman was rushed to hospital where she remains fighting for life.
Oh, it's pretty concerning because it's a very quiet area and, yeah, very unfortunate situation.
Major crash police here on scene meticulously examining every angle to try to understand how this shocking incident unfolded on a quiet no-through road.
This is a quiet cul-de-sac, so we don't expect any major accident to happen, more on the main road, which is just behind.
The Toyota towed away this afternoon to be investigated further by police. Samantha Hogan, 9 News.
A driver is tonight fighting for life after colliding with another car in Renmark around 10:20 last night on the Sturt Highway. The 31-year-old woman from Evanston was airlifted to Adelaide with life-threatening injuries. The 19-year-old who was driving the other car was taken to the local hospital with minor injuries.
A man remains on the run tonight after randomly attacking a person in Goodwood this morning. Police were called to Musgrave Street just after 7 a.m, finding the 38-year-old man from Cowandilla with minor injuries. The suspect was nowhere to be seen, with police dogs called in to search the area. Investigations remain ongoing.
Iran has launched its boldest attack yet, targeting a joint US-UK military base thousands of kilometres away. The attempted strike showed that Tehran may have far greater capabilities than previously thought. And now Donald Trump has given the regime 48 hours to reopen the Strait of Hormuz.
The home of Israel's nuclear program. Whoa. Slammed by an Iranian ballistic missile. Israeli air defences failing to intercept the strike on the city of Dimona, a hit injuring dozens, but the International Atomic Energy Agency says there's no reports of radiation. Iran claiming the strike is retaliation for an earlier hit on its Natanz nuclear facility. But in nearby Arad, another impact and a mass casualty event declared. This building split in half by a 450-kilogram Iranian missile. As the Speaker of Iran's parliament delivered an ominous warning. Israel's skies are defenceless, he wrote. It seems the time has come to implement the next pre-designed plans.
Iran has lost significant combat capability over the last 3 weeks.
But even so, the regime's offensive is not slowing down. For the first time since the war began, Iran firing intermediate-range ballistic missiles. The target, a joint US-UK military base, Diego Garcia. It's far beyond the Middle East and more than 4,000 kilometres away from Iran in the Indian Ocean. One missile failed, a US warship fired at the other, but the very targeting of this base suggests Tehran has missiles with far greater reach than previously known.
Berlin, Paris, Roma.
Their range reaches European capitals, says Israel's army chief. Berlin, Paris and Rome are all within direct threat range.
We will provide defensive support against these reckless Iranian threats.
The US president issuing a threat of his own. If Iran doesn't fully open without threat the Strait of Hormuz within 48 hours from this exact point in time, the United States of America will hit and obliterate their various power plants, starting with the biggest one first. Tonight, this war reaching a fourth week against a regime which isn't backing down. In Washington, D.C., Lauren Tomasi, 9 News.
A driver is tonight under arrest, accused of taking his 2 little dogs on a high-speed chase through the northern suburbs in a stolen car. Police say the 45-year-old is unlicensed and a wanted child sex offender.
In the dead of night, a ute screeches around the corner of this suburban street, sparks flying as it drives on only 3 wheels. The driver arrested in a shopping centre car park, his 2 little Jack Russells left inside the smashed up ute, which had been stolen from Balaclava before being spotted travelling at speed on Port Wakefield Highway, tracked to Kings Road and then into a shopping centre car park on Spains Road.
I was dropping my sister off at work and I'm just like, what the happened? And yeah, I don't know why people do that, to be honest. It's stupid.
It was here at the entrance to the car park where police finally caught up with the alleged suspect and made their arrest. Police also revealing the accused is a wanted child sex offender. Animal Rescue called in to take away his dogs, abandoned after the chase.
This area is just getting out of control with, the young kids, cost of living, everything like that. So let's just hope that, justice is found.
That guy can just go into the deepest part in prison and I hope he gets what he deserves.
The 45-year-old of no fixed address was charged with a number of driving offences. He's set to front court tomorrow. Kelly Hughes, 9 News.
A fire in a frying machine has caused a bit of chaos at a busy takeaway restaurant in Rundle Mall this morning. Fire crews called into Salsa's Fresh Mex Grill around 11:15 with smoke coming from the shop, and they worked quickly to put out the blaze. Paramedics also treated a worker for smoke inhalation. Investigators say that residue in the fryer sparked the blaze.
Well, Corey Norris is here, and Corey, an impressive response from Port Adelaide.
Yeah, it really was, Alice. They had a point to prove after that loss to the Kangaroos, and they punished the Bombers here at home, but it has come at a cost. The skipper limped from the ground in a world of pain. We'll have all the latest on that injury later in sport. Also, the Kings conquered Cotton in Game 1, with the Sixers now searching for answers to get their championship run back on track. And the Matildas go down to Japan, but are still winners in the eyes of their fans. All that and plenty more coming up later in sport.
Yeah, a lot going on, Corey. Thank you. Well, the helping hand that could solve South Australia's housing crisis.
Yeah, tonight, artificial intelligence gets the call up. How it could fast-track new builds and greenlight projects in half the time.
A spirit level, then a guitar. The wild weapons of choice in this Melbourne carjacking.
Plus, how much one of Australia's richest men paid for a private performance from Carey.
Dozens of customers had to be turned away from the Bowsers at the Costco petrol station and the shops at the Churchill Centre at Kilburn following a power outage this afternoon. SA Power Network says a total of 128 homes and businesses were affected when the power went out around 1 p.m. The cause was a fault in a high voltage cable. Crews working to restore the power by around 4:30.
2 brave truck drivers have fought back after armed thugs tried to carjack their vehicle from a Melbourne service station car park. Passers-by captured the shocking incident on their phones as the drivers went toe-to-toe with the crooks, who are now on the run.
3 men fighting in a Scoresby service station car park. Despite being outnumbered, this LG delivery driver holds his own, fighting them off with fists of fury. Witnesses say the pair had racially abused the man before demanding the keys to his truck. But as their will waned, the hunted became the hunter, a victim turning the tables on his alleged attackers.
Just get in your truck!
As they tried to flee, he was joined by a co-worker and now, armed with a spirit level, exacted his revenge as one man bizarrely attempted to retrieve a guitar from the getaway car. As the fight fizzled out, this brave delivery driver delivered one last flurry of blows.
He was putting up a pretty good fight for a little bloke, I'll tell you. He was, I don't know whether I'd do the same thing, but...
Police say there were no serious injuries in the fight and the two alleged attackers took off down the East Link in that red Subaru, most likely looking for somewhere to hide after their egos took a serious beating. Selena Zhang, 9 News.
Well, in the search for smart solutions to the housing crisis, Australia is being told to turn to artificial intelligence. Now, despite AI being blamed for thousands of job losses in recent weeks, one industry believes it could actually bring on an employment boom.
This giant robot on rails winding through Western Australia, a symbol of mining's reliance on automation. Now, the next digital frontier beckons: artificial intelligence.
We're in a major competition with the rest of the world and we want Australia first.
Red tape means it takes almost 4 years to green light mining projects. AI would halve that by robotically processing hundreds of pages of paperwork.
It could look for gaps in information. It might take a human 10 hours of work to identify those gaps. AI technology could do that in a matter of seconds.
It's not just mining applications slowed by Australia's sluggish adoption of AI.
There's unfortunately a significant backlog of homes being built.
And in fact, the department says that there are at least 10,000 that are still waiting to be approved because a parrot flew over a block of land in 1971.
The federal government promised to speed things up last August by piloting AI because it's an area that can be acted on immediately. But that pilot remains grounded.
Albo and his Environment Minister haven't pulled their finger out.
The risk is that Australia will miss out on a lot of this investment that's funding these major projects.
Mining giants requesting $13 million from the May budget to get the AI ball rolling for faster approvals. And despite the tech causing a jobs bloodbath in the tech sector,
that means that we get more jobs occurring all the way around Australia.
Promising a human would approve any artificial decision. Conor McGovern, 9 News.
Kylie Minogue has returned to the stage in Australia, but only for a select few. The pop princess putting on a private show at the birthday party of recycling billionaire Anthony Pratt. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese was on the guest list, as was Victorian Premier Jacinta Allen. Protesters gathering outside the party kept back by police. Kylie was reportedly paid around, wait for it, $3 million for this one-off performance in Melbourne. That is quite the fee, isn't it? 3 mil.
I love my job. I think we're pretty good at it. No one's paying us $3 million
for our one-off performance here tonight.
They're not at all. All right, the Adelaide Fringe is wrapping up. A lot of great performances there during a record-breaking 2026 season.
And Chelsea Carey is amongst the action. Chelsea, the final night is set to be spectacular.
Yes, guys, there's going to be a party well into this evening. Already thousands have gathered here at the Garden of Unearthly Delights. Now, usually the final weekend of the Fringe can ease off a bit, but organisers say they're seeing bumper crowds and they're anticipating this will be one of their busiest final weekends on record on the back of their biggest Adelaide Fringe ever, with more than 1 million tickets sold. Shows will be running up until midnight, and that's when I'm told the real party begins, with performers celebrating after a huge 4 weeks. Now, if you are heading out tonight, we have lovely mild conditions here in the city. Currently it's sitting on 27 degrees, and today we had a sunny top of 29. Temperatures up into the 30s tomorrow. I'll have everything you need to know just a little later.
Yeah, this weather's a bit too perfect at the moment, isn't it, Chelsea? Thank you. Well, the discovery of what is being called a mini Pompeii.
Ahead in 9 News, we take you inside the extraordinary archaeological find thousands of miles away from the Roman world.
The latest on a major mountain rescue after an avalanche kills 2 skiers.
Plus, why the people of Prague are protesting against their own Prime Minister.
Two people are dead and 3 people have been critically hurt after an avalanche struck Italy's South Tyrol region. 25 skiers were caught up in the snowslide with a major rescue operation launched. This European ski season, there's been a significant number of deaths from avalanches. Former FBI director who led the probe into Donald Trump's 2016 election campaign has died. Robert Mueller investigated alleged collusion between Trump's campaign and the Russian government, finding Russia had interfered in the election. The president posted about the news of his death online saying, "Good, I'm glad he's dead. He can no longer hurt innocent people."
Hundreds of thousands have rallied in Prague in the largest anti-government demonstration in 5 years. The crowd protesting against their new Prime Minister's policies, including proposed changes to public media funding. Protesters say the populist leader is a threat to democracy.
Archaeologists in the United Kingdom have been astounded at the discovery of an ancient Roman villa in Wales. 9 News travelled to the site, being called a mini Pompeii, that's estimated to be more than 1,600 years old.
This country park in South Wales is already renowned for its rich medieval history. But a recent geophysical scan has revealed an archaeologist's goldmine, ruins dating back even further, all the way to the Roman Empire.
We are looking, I think, without a shadow of a doubt, at a major Roman villa structure, something that really is really unknown in this part of the world.
The villa was found when surveyors were scanning the grounds around the 870-year-old abbey. They decided to look in an adjacent field where they hit gold, the foundation of a massive structure, storehouses and possibly a basilica.
So how far under the surface do you think it is here?
So we're picking up, in the ground penetrating radar, we're picking up from about just over half a metre down to about 1.8 metres. Okay, so it's quite deep.
The exact location within Margam Country Park is being kept a secret to protect it from treasure hunters.
We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 large rooms. We're talking about 5 metres by 5 metres, these rooms. A couple of corridor rooms take us to a range of rooms at the back.
It's a hugely important discovery, both historically and in a community sense.
The revelations left locals astounded.
I was so excited. I used to be an archaeologist, so can't wait to hopefully get involved a bit.
The conservation team is hoping there'll be artefacts just under the surface, like coins or tiles, that will give them clues to exactly who lived here.
This is a villa that, in size alone, would suggest that we'd have some quite fancy floors in there. And, you know, I'm going to say mosaic. It would be wonderful if we did have that.
They're eager to begin excavating to uncover a gap in knowledge about the inhabitants of Britannia.
I just hope we get the opportunity to unlock some of their secrets.
And the secrets of this corner of a former empire. In South Wales, Josh Bavis, 9 News.
That is incredible, all the way over in Wales.
Fascinating, isn't it? The Roman Empire.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, more and more South Australians are opting for no interest loans.
I don't know much about the Roman Empire, to be fair. Coming up in 9 News, exactly how they work and the warning they come as rates continue to rise.
And with the Middle East layover off the cards, tonight the surprising destinations Aussie travellers are turning to.
Plus, in the sky and on the streets, one of the world's biggest boy bands is back.
A major bank has issued nearly 40,000 interest-free loans over the past 3 months as households buckle under relentless cost of living pressures. And with demand expected to spike further, Money editor Effie Zahos breaks down the surge in this week's Money Minute.
A car loan with 0 interest and 0 fees. You borrow $5,000, you pay back exactly just that. Compare that to a car loan from a bank with a rate of 14% and a $10 monthly fee. Over 4 years, you'll pay back just over $7,000. These no-interest loans are called NILs. They work like a recycling money pool. You pay it back, someone else borrows it. They're backed by NAB and distributed by Good Shepherd, a not-for-profit organisation. And they offer more than just car loans. Up to $3,000 to help pay rental bonds, or up to $2,000 for essentials like a new fridge. The catch? Well, for that $5,000 car loan, they'll run a credit check. An active default over $500 might be a deal breaker. For the smaller loans, no credit checks. You'll need to show you can afford the repayments though. The loan money is paid directly to the suppliers, not cash in hand. Eligibility rules also apply. But it can be as simple as having a pension card or your household earning under $100,000. Why pay the bank interest if you don't have to?
Well, the war in the Middle East has brought a pretty big shift in where we holiday. Antarctica becoming a popular option with inquiries up 460% compared to last year. Travel agents also reporting a 116% jump in demand for trips to Asia, with Vietnam and Cambodia the top choices. New data shows demand for Fiji holidays has doubled, and a 53% rise for Alaska. Domestically, Queensland and the Kimberley region in WA are the top choices.
They all sound pretty good to me. Well, they were once regarded as the biggest boy band in the world, and now K-pop phenomenon BTS is making a comeback. The group performing for the first time in more than 3 years to tens of thousands of fans in Seoul. Their return to the stage also coming with a new album, a world tour and a Netflix special. The group had been on hiatus since 2022 as its members completed their mandatory military service in South Korea.
Wasn't expecting that. The reason for them not to be performing.
I'm going to be honest,
Yeah, I'm with you. Put my hand up.
I don't know.
No, we got told though that they're kind of like the One Direction or the Backstreet Boys of the K-pop world.
Well, I'm across K-pop Demon Hunters. Those songs I feel like the kids love on
My kids are
Netflix.
obsessed.
You know
Yep,
that one.
absolutely. Yeah.
BTS is a new one for me.
All right, Corey's here with sport. Pretty bittersweet afternoon for the Power, Corey.
Yeah, it certainly was, Will. They secured their first win of the season, but they'll be without their skipper Connor Rosie for a big chunk of the season. And he wasn't the only star left on ice. What's wrong with Miles? Also, we hear from 36ers coach Mike Wells on where it all went wrong in Game 1. Can they turn it around? And the T-Birds issue another big warning to their rivals. Hello again. Port Adelaide's first win under Josh Carr has been overshadowed by a serious hamstring injury to skipper Connor Rosie, who could be facing up to at least 8 weeks out of action. The skipper conceding he's already resigned to the worst and isn't the only star who could be sidelined.
The most bittersweet of breakthroughs, Josh Carr taking his first 4 points, but at the expense of 2 of his biggest stars. Miles Bergman finishing on ice, while hamstrung skipper Connor Rosie is already fearing the worst.
He said he just felt a real niggle and spasm at the time, and he does fear that it may be a tendon injury to that hamstring.
Earlier, it was back to the future at Adelaide Oval, but under a new coach, the Power's start couldn't have been sweeter.
Well, he's hungry. They wouldn't play him last week. Won't do that again.
After calling last week's loss embarrassing, Jason Horne-Francis clearly had a point to prove.
To Horne-Francis, who's going to take it all the way to the bank. He's got 3.
His triple treat had the Bombers still grounded at quarter time, with his teammates following his lead.
Horne-Francis almost couldn't rake it in. Berry round the corner. Oh, Port there on fire early.
A stark contrast with one Bomber on ice, a meniscus tear ending Mason Redmond's day, Essendon both unlucky and at times their own worst enemy.
Caddy can run in and slam it through.
That's just mental pressure, really, isn't it, to fluff that opportunity.
To his credit, Caddy quickly atoned, making an instant impact after half-time.
Then Caddy runs and he won't miss this one. He makes sure he runs to the line and slams it into the Bombers crowd.
And minutes later, the Don dialed up the difficulty.
He stops, props, snaps, it's round the corner, it's another one.
But the Power piled on even more pain before experiencing plenty of their own. Bergman and Rosie now both set for scans, an anxious wait ahead after an almighty high at Adelaide Oval.
Obviously a bit flat, it doesn't look great. Obviously reviewing it after the game, it looks likely a tendon involved. Fingers crossed it's not, but that's probably the most likely scenario.
Will Crouch, 9 News.
North Melbourne is looking to keep its undefeated start to the season intact, narrowly leading West Coast by 3 points heading into half-time. Coming off the back of an inspired win over Port Adelaide, Alistair Clarkson's men kicked 7 goals to 1 in the first term.
Doverston with a couple of bounces, a third, looking for his first goal in the AFL. Will go to the top to Larkey. Got runners inside. They've just got to work the numbers, think their way through it. Took his time, still found Zerha.
Skipper Nick Larkey has kicked 3 goals. Well, the AFL has taken the extraordinary step of hitting Fremantle forward Pat Voss with a fine for taunting Melbourne's Harrison Petty. In an incident that has divided the footy world, Voss was hit with a $1,500 fine for misconduct.
The Dockers set to rein in the man dubbed the Prancing Pony.
I think there'll possibly be conversations to have about it. At this moment, I'm in a tough position to comment on that.
Pat Voss himself was last night confident he didn't go too far.
There was a few words being said, but yeah, shake hand at the end of the day. But like you said, it is a balancing act, and I've found the line fairly well, and I think I'm in a pretty good space at the moment.
Now, former Demon Stephen May has made his return to footy, playing a practice match for East Ringwood against Montrose, a team ironically wearing the red and the blue. The onlookers, including Collingwood coach Craig McRae. That came after Toby Nankervis had a new experience, left wondering how he injured his hamstring.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I haven't done a hammy before, so yeah, go and have a look at it and see what it says. Don't get much high speed or sprint, so I don't know how it happened, but yeah, we'll see what it says and yeah, get it right hopefully pretty soon.
Tom Lynch today got scans on a hamstring issue of his own.
It feels pretty good. Obviously going to get scans and know the extent of it, but I don't think it's going to be a major one, but yeah, just annoying more than anything.
4 hamstring injuries across the league yesterday alone. Christian Petrarca set to miss multiple weeks after scans confirmed a medium strain. It's raised questions over whether rule changes have sped up the game a little too much.
Footy's bloody tough, so yeah, I don't want to say anyone get injured, but yeah, I don't think it's a trend or anything like that.
Bad news also for gun son Bailey Humphrey, offered a 2-game ban for this tackle on Morris Rioli Jr.
Yeah, dangerous tackle was the call. A slinging motion.
Meanwhile, the AFL is investigating technical problems with the clock. The countdown appeared to glitch twice during yesterday's GWS St Kilda clash. Owen Leonard, 9 News.
OK, so let's take a look at the ladder now. And the Suns, Dogs and, if you can believe it, Kangaroos are set to sit undefeated after their first 3 games if they can hold on against the Eagles. The Powers leapfrog the Crows to sneak into 7th, while reigning premiers Brisbane are one of 4 teams still yet to register a win. Well, the Adelaide 36ers will leave no stone unturned to swing the championship race back in their favour after suffering a record-breaking 44-point thumping in Sydney. Superstar Bryce Cotton had very little influence, with Mike Wells conceding they failed to adjust.
The 36ers couldn't get off the court quick enough last night, and there was some tension in the process.
As Bogut and Rakocevic have words.
Rakocevic did not want to shake hands.
Now home to process the largest shellacking in Championship Series history.
I'll give them credit. They're a really good team. You know, I thought they got us early and then they got us often.
From the opening minute, the home side's intent was clear.
Smacks Cotton across the face.
Stopping the MVP is a mission the Kings had conquered during the regular season, and on the bigger stage, Cotton was held to just 10 points, and Coach Wells was devoid of answers.
Well, obviously I don't have any adjustments because it looked like the regular season, so I'm not going to really comment on that one.
Kendrick Davis has played with a chip on his shoulder from the moment he left the Sixers last season.
Davis gets busy and blows past Cheatham.
He drained 25 points to go with 7 assists and now looms as the biggest hurdle in the Sixers' quest to break a 24-year championship drought.
They had the upper hand, and that's the way it goes in Game 1. It's a playoff series. They got 1 game. They held home court. We've got to go home and we've got to try to figure it out in a week and take care of our home court on Friday night.
Yep, what a game. Well, the Adelaide Thunderbirds continue to throw down the gauntlet to their Super Netball rivals, this time with a thumping 13-goal win over the West Coast Fever at the Entertainment Centre. Against her old side, Romelda Aiken-George had the yips, while her replacement, South African Elmarie Vanderberg, was again dominant with 57 goals.
Oh, Vanderberg, go for the 2.
Now, Latanya Wilson and Shamira Sterling-Humphrey dominated the defensive end with moves like that. The T-Birds now take on the Firebirds on Sunday. Well, Matilda's fans have thrown their support behind the team despite last night's devastating loss to Japan in the Asian Cup final. The 1-0 defeat means Australia's 16-year wait for silverware continues and begs the question, have the Golden Generation players missed their shot at glory?
In the eyes of their passionate fans, the Matildas will always be winners. Hundreds came to support their heroes at a fan day in Sydney, following the heartbreak of last night's loss to Japan.
You know, we were pretty devastated last night, but to have this today is pretty amazing.
The nation was behind the Tillies. More than 74,000 fans packed Stadium Australia as the Aussies sought to claim their first major trophy in 16 years.
And you can hear the roar tonight.
But it was always going to be tough against the world number 6.
Turn on, shoot, onside!
Maika Hamano scored the only goal of the match to secure Japan's 3rd Asian Cup crown and leave the home side devastated.
Yeah, probably one of the hardest. I don't know if we're going to be able to do this. Probably one of the hardest in my career. I just think we did everything we could have.
Without any major silverware in the cabinet, there are concerns the Matildas' golden generation have missed their chance. The next major tournament, the World Cup in Brazil next year.
We've still got, you know, the core group that are at the top level themselves. So it's very hard to say bye-bye. I'm excited. I'm excited of that batch, but the next batch is really, really exciting too.
Players will now head back to their club sides, with the national team not due to reconvene until mid-April.
Well, Aussie runner Jess Hull was left to lament a missed opportunity at the World Indoor Championships in Poland. After pushing past the favourite, Hull claimed bronze in the 3,000 metres, but the 29-year-old is still searching for a maiden world title.
I don't want to say disappointment because it's a bronze medal on a global stage, but a little bit of a missed opportunity. But I'm still searching for my own gold, and yeah, I think there was a real opportunity there tonight.
Fellow Aussie Curtis Marshall also took out bronze in the pole vault to make it 3 medals for Australia at this meet. Well, an Italian cyclist was taken to hospital after a horror crash in the women's Milan-San Remo one-day classic. Deborah Silvestri broke 5 ribs and suffered a fracture in her shoulder after this tumbling over this guardrail.
Oh my God, this is absolutely terrible. What an absolute horrible sight to see for that rider of Laboral Cuccia.
Yeah, the 27-year-old later assured fans over social media that she felt good and will be back. That's a nasty fall, but how tough are these cyclists? Because, you know, there's not a lot of meat on the bone.
Does that make you nervous? You're on the bike a lot at the moment with your training.
I don't ride that fast, and I'm not that tough, so I better not fall off either. All right, Corey, thank you. Now here's a look at what's on 60 Minutes tonight.
Thanks, Will. Tonight.
IQs have dropped for the first time in human history.
The frightening medical evidence.
Dementia and Alzheimer's in teenagers. It's really scary.
What too much screen time.
You almost forget who you are.
Is really doing to young Australian brains.
What does it look like when an entire generation reaches adulthood with dementia?
Plus, blunt words from China's top man in Canberra.
That does sound like a threat.
It's a warning.
That's tonight after Married. Back to you, Will.
Thanks, Amelia. Well, next, Chelsea Carey has this week's weather details.
And it's looking pretty good. First, though, we'll look at tomorrow's speed cameras. Stay with us.
Hi, it's Roo Dits and Loz from Triple M Breakfast.
Turn us on tomorrow morning for the latest Adelaide news, traffic and weather. And don't miss Adelaide's most listened to segment, The Rumour Mill.
On 104.7 Triple M.
Hello again. Well, it is the final night of the Adelaide Fringe. It feels like it came around quickly. Thousands are here at the Garden of Unearthly Delights, soaking up the last moments of the Fringe and these lovely conditions. We have clear skies in Adelaide right now. It's still sitting on around 26 degrees here in the city. Earlier this afternoon, we had a sunny top of 29. So really easy autumn conditions across Adelaide. A little bit of a fresh start if you were up early, but plenty of warm sunshine around this afternoon. afternoon. It reached 30 degrees at Mawson Lakes, 27 by our coast. The odd light shower through the north of the state this afternoon, 0.2 mils at Yunta, but generally a dry, warm day. Temperatures rising into the low 30s around Port Pirie, Port Augusta and through our far north. Kadina, Redmark, Murray Bridge and Keith all made 30. It was a foggy morning for parts of the southeast and the Murray lands, but fine conditions this afternoon. And this sunshine rolls on tomorrow thanks to a high pressure system. But the next feature to watch for is a change midweek. A trough and a cold front sweeping through, bringing the odd shower and much cooler conditions. If you're travelling this week, maybe pack the brolly for Brisbane or Sydney tomorrow. The chance of a few showers there. A mild 25 for Melbourne. Back home, it's a mostly sunny start to the week here. Port Augusta and Port Pirie heading for 33. 33 at Renmark and Murray Bridge too. We could see some fog through the southeast again, but really looking at a fine day. 31 the top for Narracourt and 28 for Victor Harbour. Out on the water tomorrow, locally variable winds around 10 knots and seas below 1 metre. And across Adelaide, really pleasant conditions for your Monday. Sunshine and warm autumn temperatures. A top of 32 for Elizabeth, 31 for Mount Barker, 29 along our coastline. Here in the city, a mild night, a low of 18. Then tomorrow, top of 31. 31 on Tuesday as well. 28 on Wednesday before that change rolls through. And there is a slight chance of a shower or a rumble of thunder on Wednesday or Thursday. Not expecting much rain-wise with this change, but we will have cooler conditions. So 19 on Friday before another beautiful weekend. Alison Will.
I'm loving the look of that forecast, Chels. Thank you. Enjoy the final night of Fringe. It's hard to believe it's all over.
No, it isn't.
It does. That is Adelaide's 9 News for this Sunday. Thanks for your company.
Yeah, Brenton will be back here tomorrow night at 6. Until then, have a great evening.
Good night.